What if iconic horror legends Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees didn't stop at just one showdown after 2003's Freddy vs. Jason?
It's time to put this bad dog to sleep.
Believe it or not, Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash almost came to life on screen.
Groovy.
And it's a wild story, traveled through comics, leaked scripts, and fan lore. We're digging into the unmade epic that dared to pit three horror legends against each other. But let's get this straight. It wasn't just another slasher flick. It was the ultimate horror power play. Let's set the stage in Hollywood at the time. The late 90s and early 2000s saw horror franchises hit diminishing returns. Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street had become boring. Very boring. And routine. The genre needed a fresh jolt, something to push boundaries again. Freddy vs. Jason delivered. It gave an adrenaline rush, and while it pleased fans, producers wondered, what's the next step? Horror crossovers were still rare, polarizing, and risky ventures. This was a time when horror was either heading straight to DVD at your local Blockbuster, remember those?
Hey, come into Blockbuster.
Or getting tongue-in-cheek remakes, but not massive team-ups. But somewhere, wild creative minds whispered, what if we go bigger? Three-headed monster bigger. Drafts emerged, with writers wanting to introduce Ash Williams, the chainsaw-armed hero of Evil Dead and the Army of Darkness, and add him to the fight.
Who wants some?
These were not fan jokes. This was a serious pitch. How would the writers make this happen? Now, scripts vary, but most treatments follow a rough outline. So let's talk about the one from Jeffrey Katz. Set shortly after Freddy vs. Jason, the town of Crystal Lake is still dealing with the aftermath of the recent massacre. Freddy Krueger is once again disappeared in the dream world, while Jason Voorhees is presumed dead at the bottom of the lake. He's been there a few times before. Ash Williams, he's now working at the Crystal Lake S Bar, because of course there's one there. He's older, wiser, and scarred from his previous encounters with the Book of the Dead and the Deadites, but still the sarcastic and brash Ash we know and love. Freddy discovers the Book of the Dead. He discovers it's hidden in the Voorhees house. He seeks to use its power to fully wreck himself in the real world and increase his strength beyond the dream realm. Unfortunately for Freddy, he inadvertently resurrects Jason with increased demonic power. Jason becomes more unstoppable than ever, faster, more aggressive, and now Deadite-infused. Ash then discovers the Book of the Dead's influences behind all of the rising evil in Crystal Lake. He begins investigating its return, believing it to be connected to Jason's rampage and Freddy's resurgence. As part of this battle, Ash gets pulled into the dream world, where he confronts Freddy on his own turf. Their clash is surreal and terrifying, blending Freddy's manipulation with Ash's defiant, chainsaw-wielding insanity and laughter. The climactic battle takes place at the dilapidated Voorhees family home. Ash, Jason, and Freddy engage in a brutal three-way brawl. Ash using the Book of the Dead to try and send both villains back to hell. Although Ash does seem to defeat both Freddy and Jason, the ending leaves the door open for their return. Freddy's laugh echoes, and Jason's mask remains unburned in the rubble, teasing their immortality. Now, with such a great story and three horror film icons, why did it not get made? The concept predated the horror crossover boom of the 2010s and modern multiverse mashups. It was ahead of streaming IRS, back when studios still feared too much blood in mainstream releases. It married properties without compromise, an idea scarcely pursued until whispers of a monsterverse. But it didn't happen. Why? The studios couldn't make it happen. Rights were tangled across New Line, Paramount, and Universal. Scripts got written, none got greenlit. So, what if Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash had hit theaters? Would horror fans have loved it? Would the gore overshadow the fan service cameos? Could it have spawned an inner franchise horror epic?
Groovy.
Even proposed sequels were rumored. Nightmare Warriors Returns, or Jason vs. Ash vs. Chucky. Comics eventually answered the dream. 2007's Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash, and 2009's sequel, Nightmare Warriors, delivered variants of this showdown, but no film ever took them to theaters. These three legends should have met on the big screen. If you agree, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned. Next, we'll explore another film that died before it could haunt.